Is anyone who just joined the call from the opposition? The team Sui Generis. Sorry? Opening opposition, team Sui Generis. Okay, we can start. Alright, so debate starts. May all teams kindly type their speaking order in chat with all teams without anything else. I'll now welcome the Prime Minister to start the debate. Kenya.
Are they here now? Hello?
Hi, sorry, I think the person who was speaking from OC was breaking. I thought they said something like, we can start.
Are we waiting for someone?
Could you hold on a bit? The partner dropped off. Okay, he's back now. Thank you.
Okay, I guess the Prime Minister can take the virtual podium. Yeah.
Alright, so I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Alright, Kenneth, can you hear me? like for example, a superhuman abilities, the opportunity cost of doing nothing becomes morally unjustifiable. They have to prove this in opposition side, or else it leads to this debate. On preemption one, was it that like understand that line that's like why like some side effects like are severe. They occur in a minority of cases. For a patient in a marginalized community, the child is already facing significant dangers that could lead to death or severe harm, such as gang violence, inadequate healthcare, and police brutality. These are real present threats, whereas the risk of compound V are potential and importantly come with the chance exceptional benefits. We think that even in the worst case scenario, where the child suffers from side effects, that like that risk is not more significant and the dangers faced in a community plagued by systemic violence and neglect. But then second is that the ethical dimension must be framed in the light of injustices injustices perpetrated against marginalized groups. We think panel that when the system fails to provide safe environments, quality education, or economic opportunities, parents are left with no ethical choice but to seek extraordinary means to secure their child's future. Parental decisions often involve medical risk. Example are like surgeries, etc. Yeah, like in our world, compound V is an extraordinary measure for extraordinary circumstances. But then third, understand that why the Hobbes side may argue that the use of compound V could reinforce perceptions that marginalized group need special powers to succeed. This view is already prevalent due to structural barriers that prevent upward mobility. The availability of superhuman abilities could in fact serve to challenge stereotypes by providing evidence of what individuals from marginalized backgrounds can achieve if given an equal playing field. We stand panel that superhuman abilities could also empower these children to be a role model and also advocate for the community, showcasing that success is not about overcoming personal flaws, but dismantling systemic obstacles we win from opening governments. Principles one is on parental duty to maximize opportunities. Understand that parents have a moral obligation to provide the best possible future for their children. Given the circumstances in marginalized communities, this duty extends to taking extraordinary measures when conventional routes are inaccessible. Compound B, though risky panel, can offer life-changing advantages such as protection from violence or access to better jobs. We see that when traditional paths to success are basically obstructed by discrimination, parents must seek alternative routes, even if they are unconventional. But then we see that there's going to be a clash on consent and autonomy. We argue from our side of the world that the nature of parenting involves making critical decisions on behalf of children, especially in survival contexts. Understand that why children cannot consent, parents routinely decide on risk actions for their children. For example, surgery and immigration to dangerous places when it is in their best interest. I'll take a pair just hold on panel. In this case, the potential upside of compound V abilities is significantly high compared to the likelihood of success through traditional means. Panel, in this context, children cannot provide informed consent for decisions that are affecting their future, and parents basically need to make significant choices on their behalf, such as medical treatment or location to safe areas. This decision panel often involves the risk, but are justified by the parents' duty to act in the child's best interest. Yeah, panel, within that administering compound V is framed as an extension of that duty, where the where the potential benefit protection opportunities basically justify the risk. Within that panel, that given the extreme the disadvantages faced by children in marginalized communities, parents are morally entitled to make high-stake decisions to improve their child's prospects. What is your POI? Sharp. 1,
So
2.
in your side of the house, listen now. Having super
I'm listening.
intelligence means that your life is settled.
I didn't get that clear. My partner, I didn't get that. But I just continue my speech. Moving on pragmatics. One is on empowerment as a moral imperative. Understand that in a world where a child's potential is often constrained by socio-economic status, things like race or geography, the use of compound V serves as an ethical tool for empowerment. By administering the panel, understand that parents take proactive steps to free their child from this from these limitations, providing a level playing field against children who do not face such systemic barriers. Within that, the moral duty duty here is not just to protect the child from immediate harm, but to enable them to reach their fullest potential. You do not get it like this, like benefit, like from the side of the world, from the side of the world, but then also on breaking the cycles of oppression within our panel in marginalized, marginalized communities. Generations are often trapped in cycles of poverty, violence, and discrimination. The cycles that persist like due to structural injustice. So by choosing to administer like compound V, parents are effectively pushing back against like these injustices by offering their child a potential escape from this cycle. What is the way of like in today's debate, and why do we from side opening up understand that like our side provides our side provides a path of hope for parents who otherwise see it to a possibility for change. We argued that the moral duty to offer hope, even if it involves purposes the desire to play safe. You get more like analysis from my partner. We are proud to be from opening government.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister, for that lovely speech. We'll now welcome the leader of opposition. Here. Leader of opposition, whenever you are ready. Am I audible?
Panel, it seems she's having network issue or technical issue because she keeps joining and exiting the call.
Oh, okay.
Please, am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So first thing is my network is very unstable. So at any point in time I am not audible. I think my partner will reach out to me and hopefully I'll join back in less than 5 minutes, or is it 3 minutes? Please, but at any point in time I am not audible, just unmute to let me know. Yeah, so my POI preference, if you have a POI, just unmute to ask POI. But please don't badger. So I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panel, this debate cannot be about children who can't give consent, because I am above 18 years old and I still live with my parents and I still identify as the child of my parents. My parents still recognize me as their child. So it means that even within the context of these debates or within this analogy I just gave, my parent can decide to give me this compound V as their eldest child necessarily. It means that for us to necessarily have an engaging debate and a very equitable debate, we don't have to strawman this debate, as OG is saying, to talk about it specifically for children who can't give consent. This debate is necessarily about all type of children, below the age of consent, above age of consent, and necessarily. But even within this debate, we are still going to engage while, even if your child can't give consent and it is probably even a child in the womb, you shouldn't necessarily do this essentially. For us to be able to move on, and most of my rebuttals will be incorporated into my speech, we need to ask, why are individuals marginalized? Or why is the community that this particular parents come from marginalized, you need to realize that irrespective of how powerful you are or how intelligent you are, which is something that exists in status quo, as a Black person, you will still be rated lower than someone who comes from a developed country, because necessarily the bias exists. So it means you constantly have to prove yourself to show that, oh, at the end of the day, I am intelligent enough for you to give me the job I supposed to get, or for you to necessarily give me the recognition I supposed to get. It means that the marginalization that exists in most communities doesn't stem from the fact that you are a fool or the fact that you are not powerful within the society. It's just that no matter what you do, you are not just considered to be someone worthy enough to be seen as an equal within that society necessarily. It means that giving the person compound V doesn't necessarily guarantee that there will be an acceptance from the oppressors that exist against that community essentially. Typical examples is how you see people with japa leave their country, go to another country, and people who are PhD holders and a whole lot of those will be seen doing things like menial jobs like street cleaners and a whole lot of those. Not necessarily because they can't do the job they are supposed to do, but it is more about the very fact that your certificate, your degree, every of your experience is not just worthy enough to be considered or to give you an epistemic access within that society. That also means that all of the benefit of protection and empowerment is something that this parent never truly does. What then is true empowerment that a parent can do within this particular situation? I think the empowerment here now stems from the very fact that you create an avenue for to systemically create epistemic access for the experiences of your child and by extension your community within that society. And that is something that you see existing in status quo, right? Where you see parents necessarily speaking up against issues, becoming activists, taking stances against the government and against society. The truth is you never truly empower your child in a world where the marginalization they face is not as a resultant effect of their abilities, but as a resultant effect of the access and systemic racism or systemic oppressions that exist within that particular society. In order to not have a problem-solution mismatch, the solution will then now to create a solution to the problem, which is the fact that you lack epistemic access, and not to begin to mess up with the life of your child, especially when that thing in itself is something that is risky, something that you cannot guarantee. We have a guaranteed avenue of protection and empowerment in a world where you have or you leave a society for your child, or you create a society for your child to be able to speak up, for your child to be able to access jobs, or for your child to necessarily be able to access schools that they normally would not be able to access. These are ways that this can be done. And considering the fact that the world is becoming increasingly global and all these systems are always being critiqued, it means there is an easier opportunity for these parents to be able to create all these systemic changes or systemic avenues for their children. It is a parent from a marginalized community. It means you most likely have other parents like you who also want to create protectionism and empowerment. It means that you also still have an ability to access a community that has the capacity to be able to call for change. Even if they don't have access like monetary access, they have the voice to be able to call for change. And that is something that you as a parent can tap into to make a better life for your child, essentially. Panel, you have to note that this exists irrespective of whether your child is a minor or not, whether your child gives consent or not, essentially. OG, or rather CG, please, your POI.
So listen, the Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps in China, they don't care whether China accepts them or not. What they care about is to escape that particular concentration camp and run far away from China and be able to determine.
Okay, so at the end of the day, right, giving this to your child doesn't also necessarily mean that they can escape. But even if you give it to your eldest child, it means that you and your younger children are still left within that community. So, and that even leads to the second argument I have, because note, this motion says to your eldest child. We then have to critique why it is an eldest child that should be giving this. As someone who is an eldest child within a family, I understand the pressure, and I also understand the the narrative that exists around eldest children in families of marginalized community, the narrative that, oh, you necessarily have to be up and doing to be able to create an avenue for your younger ones to do better. You have to lead by example and a whole lot of this. It means that as a parent, you doing this to your eldest child necessarily mean you are also oppressing that particular child essentially. What does that mean? One, your child is now left with two options: to either take up the reins and, you know, lead by example and necessarily save his parent or her parents and the younger ones, or as CG wants to argue in this debate, the child runs away because they cannot afford this. But not, at the end of the day, there is no true critique of what this child necessarily wants. It is something that is imposed on the child by their parents. In our own world, the comparative is that you live in a world where even though you are marginalized, you can then now on your own doing choose how you want your life to necessarily look like, even if you are a child who cannot give consent. That is something you don't have for this child as a parent, and you are an oppressor to your child essentially. Yeah, you get more from my partner.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for that amazing speech. We'll now welcome the Deputy Prime Minister here. Deputy Prime Minister, whenever you are ready.
Kenneth, please quickly check your DM. Sorry, Chair.
Okay. Okay. I've checked my DM. Just give me a minute. I'll be right with you. Okay, panel, let me confirm my audibility. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay, POI preferences, 50 minutes. Just say you have a POI and indicate your bench. Please, 50 minutes. Say you have a POI and indicate, say it only once. Thank you. My prepared pronouns are did them. Yeah, so let me engaging round. Okay, having said that, I begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Now, panel, this is an actor motion. We're here to debate about what course of action is in the best interest of the actor. Other stakeholders are not a pedestal of buttress. But then, if we can prove from side OG how it is in the best interest of a parent to administer this drug to their eldest child, even with the possibility of a side effect, we win this debate. But firstly, rebuttals. What do we get from side LO? The first thing is she tries to accuse my partner of Stromani debate. No, my partner did not Stromani to just kids that can give consent. Please, I expect the deputy leader opposition to pay more attention and do better in terms of like claiming the cases we had. Second thing she said that it doesn't guarantee acceptance, that this drug will not guarantee acceptance from the majority. But that is not what we want. We do not give a damn whether they accept us or not. We want to prioritize our own self-empowerment, which this drug stands a very large chance of giving us. Yes, but then the rest of my rebuttals will be integrated in my speech, right? But then a bit of clarity. Firstly, the parent. I'm a man, so I'll assume I'm the dad taking this action. Second is on the eldest child, right? That the like opposition talks about. But then this is a responsible, like eldest children have like a responsible to lead children, right? So like their siblings, right? Even parents also have a responsibility to their children, right? This is why a parent, my partner already tells you that the principle of responsibility to your parents and to principle of responsibility from parents to kids is one of the principles that guides them taking this course of action. And that is something similar that occurs with first children, right? They have this mantle of responsibility that they have to uphold to take this course of action. Why they are the best in this case scenario? And they just assume, oh, the parents just wants to harm them and the child will not want to take this in any case scenario. But then I believe that's not true, because this is a sacrifice towards taking a step towards being a hero of liberating your own family and even your own community on the long run. So in the case of the eldest child, that's not even a major contention in this debate, right? But then compound V give individuals superpowers in a vast majority of instances in like a ratio of like 9 to 10, because info likely tells you that yes, it's going to succeed in a majority of instances, but only in minority cases showed failure. Hence, hence, even though it can fail, we prove in those instances where it failed, it's still in the best interest of the parents regardless. But then let's talk about these marginalized communities, right? These people come from marginalized communities, and what do these marginalized communities look like? Firstly, these look like people that have been taken out of the system for centuries, right? We have Black people that underwent Black displacement, where they had to move from stable housings with more access to resources into the trenches, into the ghetto. There they had to now struggle to survive, and it led to the formation of gangs and etc. High crime rates, less access to resources, higher death rates, and hence these individuals can hardly self-actualize due to things they faced throughout the course of history, taken out of the system and moral injustice, etc. The second thing and how they look like is immigrants like Mexicans, Arabs, even the Blacks, etc. They have been gerrymandered out of the system by the rich, which have more access to resources like healthcare, education, and housing, and they have forced these people, like the minorities, to feed off of scraps that they can get to self-sustain themselves, and that is very problematic, right? Because immigrants are very much limited. Like they are restricted to certain jobs, they carry out only menial jobs. Even though before they get those menial jobs, they are even being treated like unfairly, being paid under the minimum wage, and they can hardly complain because they are even disregarded by the police force or the security agencies that are meant to cater for them. Hence, it's very problematic for them in and of themselves. The third thing on how they look like is they have no means to self-actualize. Why? Because mostly right-wing individuals and even centrist and regular individuals as a whole buy into racist rhetorics against them, subject them to different types of ostracization and stereotypes. Hence, denying them of job opportunities even when they deserve, based on the premise of them being minorities, right? And believe that this is very problematic because even if these individuals work their ass off and do everything right, they still get ostracized because they are minorities. A Black man not getting a job because he's Black, an Arab not getting a job because he's Black, because they are minorities, they don't get this means to self-actualize. Very problematic on themselves. But then the fourth thing on how they look like is lazy investigation, right? Due to how this justice system disregards them, instead of carrying proper investigations, they just look for them and pass judgments upon them. That's why we see things like violence and police brutality. I believe that this is just as harmful as this side effect of this drug, right? Because if they continue to go through the process of violence and police brutality due to lazy investigation, but this drug has a very high chance of liberating them from this, and then it's very justified to take this drug. What these four structures mean is that there's zero to no means for these marginalized communities to self-actualize and liberate themselves. And this drug actually presents this chance to them. Due to the fact that the majority have continuously disenfranchised them and assaulted these individuals, we think that taking this course of action in and of itself is self-defense. And in principle, self-defense is justified even if it leads to failure. And hence, we prove that it's even less likely to lead to failure. And even if it does, it's still justified based on the principle of self-defense. The first thing to say on utility is that you give these people a chance of the instances where it's. How does this look like? Firstly, the minority of drugs. Yes, the info clearly tells you that is a minority of drug candidates that had this side effect, which means there is a higher chance of success rate if these individuals administer this drug to their eldest child. The second thing to say is if it is successful, that is to say the child can help their family and liberate them in so many ways that will even have a transcending effect on the marginalized community. Also, we have sprint because the info clearly tells you superhuman abilities. Hence, they will be faster, succeed in sprinting events, then be like the fastest in the world, have a reputation, and promote their community just like Usain Bolt did for Jamaica. Right? Second is other sporting events, right? Other sporting events just like javelin, high jump, etc. Because they have advanced ability, they can excel in this aspect, and they can easily get access to like self-actualization and etc. Second thing is invisibility, right? How is invisibility? Well, invisibility is something that I was not even engaged on by the opposition, right? Because we believe that this is important. Why? This can help, especially marginalized cops or just marginalized individuals, to be sneaky and to carry out proper investigation without being without being monitored by the security systems or whatsoever. You can easily carry out investigations and prove that people from their marginalized communities are actually innocent and not being because they can dig out the evidence, they can prove that these people are not guilty of what they are being held for. They can release the evidence. That invisibility gives them like the sneakiness to give like reforms to their people in terms of reparation of the justice system. Sorry, it's out of order already. Hence, marginalized communities continue to be subjected to unfair judgment by the CJS in their world, but then they get a better chance of CJS treatment because we can uncover this secret through invisibility. The third is advanced intellectual abilities, because we know technology is already dominating in the world, right? So hence, hence, they grab this opportunity and it actually works, then they can be in line with technology and self-actualize on the long run. But then liberating both these families and the Black community benefits these parents in terms of impact in 4 ways. 1, higher chance of self-actualization. 2, better access to amenities. And 3, some sort of reparation because you now have genetic advantage over your oppressors. But then, because of long-term impact of failure, why is this still justified? Firstly, extreme measures call for extreme mechanisms in the absence of better alternatives, making it justified. Secondly, fighting for a cause, just cause is justified, even if it leads to harm. Secondly, death is not the enemy. In an instance where they die, death is a freedom from a painful life. And life as a marginalized group is more painful than any other thing. And it's still in the best interest of the parents. Willingness is desperation. Death is not the enemy. Even in instance of permanent disability, right? It only shifts their self-actualization to a different paradigm, meaning they can still even self-actualize as we see disability, sports, and etc. Hence, for these many reasons, we are very proud to do.
Thank you, Speaker, for that amazing speech. We'll now welcome the DLO to close off the first half of the debate. Here.
Okay, my partner, please, can you just check your WhatsApp in 2 seconds so I will know what to do. Oh, my partner is on the call. All right, so I think I'll just start anyways. I had wanted that to do something for me. So for timing, hold on, since my partner is not available, let me just try to time myself from here. So for POI, I'm going to be calling for POI within my speech. You don't have to unmute and don't also put in chat space because I'm not looking at the chat space. Okay. All right. So my timer is set, and Chair, sorry for disturbance, just to confirm you can hear me, and then I'll start.
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you very much. So starting my speech right now, this debate boils down to 2 things. The first is the interest of this actor, and then the second is the probable outcome in terms of solvency. There are 2 reasons why this debate has to be judged by these 2 different metrics. The first, because it is an actor motion phrased as a policy motion, which means within that particular establishment, it is fine for up to a promise that is governed into promise. It's going to be doing a